came on gradually because he did ROTC, so we knew, you know, that was probably, but we didn't know it was going to be a career. But that was not my husband's plan either, by a mile. He was going to get out as soon as he did his tour in Vietnam. So, yeah. So it's probably ROTCs, and you have to if you're on ROTC in what do they call that? I can't remember the program. PLCs. If you're in that program, you have to pay back a certain amount. So it was just kind of, I can remember before he went to college, his senior year, he was just flaking around, and I said, you know, and our parents never applied to college for us. And I remember saying to him at Christmas time, maybe you ought to just join the military, because you can't seem to get your act together. And but he didn't at that time. He went to community college, and so yeah, we're all a work in progress, aren't we?
Yes.
You know, you go through military through officers training in Quantico, Virginia, and before you graduate from college, you go to OCS, Officers Candidate School, and then after you graduate, you go to the basic school, TBS, and then he was stationed at Camp Pendleton. And he was with an infantry unit. He was is an infantry officer, and we knew that. Well, he's not an infantry officer now. He's in Special Forces, but he at that time, Camp Pendleton, and we knew that. Well, we didn't. You know, the Operation Enduring Freedom had not started. We had gone to. Let's see. That was 2005. Early 2005, I think. And I remember I was at a sales meeting in Portland, and either I saw it on the news or Mike called and said, Casey being deployed there, or I guess, yeah, I knew what it was. They were going to go into Kuwait, and they were in Kuwait, I think, and they were going to be going into Iraq. That's what it was, that day that I got this call. And they'd gone across the border, and so I drove home, just, of course, it's on my mind. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, I was at home, and I felt like a feather brushed my cheek. And I was just immediately awake, and I went out into the living room, and I turned on the television, and they reported that a Marine first lieutenant had been killed. And got on my knees. And prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And after that, they stopped giving the ranks when they'd announce. You know, because I'm sure every first lieutenant's mom got on their knees. And so that night, and and so he had he did a lot of incredible things over there. He was on our minds 24/7, and it was almost harder on Mike in a way, because Mike knew exactly what, not exactly day to day, but he knew what it was like. And Casey, out of those, his efforts over there, he received Bronze Star. But it was after that I got shall I tell you about Caring for Troops?
Of course.
Okay. So it was, I felt compelled to do something. And so I thought, well, I'll organize a rally of community support for the troops. And we are this community is incredible for support of veterans, just incredible. And so I went to the VFW to kind of get support, and at the same time, a young man named Dan Hulbert, former Marine, went to the VFW, and we were attending the same meeting, and his vision was care packages for the troops, and mine was this rally. So we got together, and on April 5th, 2005, we had a rally in the old Bend River Mall. That's the one that's farthest south? I mean north, I think. It's Bend River Mall. And it's been rebuilt since then, but they had this huge courtyard, and they put up a big stage for us. They were all over it, the people at Bend River Mall. And so we had our first, we had this rally, and all kinds of people came out. And then we went over to the other mall, and we had been donated a space, and we packed up packages for our deployed military personnel. And that was our first pack up, and we named ourselves Caring for Troops. And we're a nonprofit, and we continue to this day to send packages to our local deployed military personnel or anyone with a connection to Central Oregon. So if you live here and you have a friend who is in Portland that's deployed, then you're good to go. Get them on the list. And our biggest challenge is, because of privacy issues, accessing names. But during that time, though, when Casey was deployed that first time, it was he'd sent, the Marines were moving so fast. Casey was on the tip of the sword, that he'd write us, and they're living on MREs, meals ready to eat, and he would write us notes on the back of, on the cardboard from the meal ready to eat. And you just need an address. You didn't need a stamp. They don't have to use stamps to send, or
right.
Postage. So we'd know what he ate that day. And we'd get these cards, like postcards, And but the care packages were huge at that time for them, because they were moving so fast that logistics could not keep up with them. And so they'd get the care packages, and there were times when they'd go 24 hours without food because logistics couldn't keep up with them. And so what they did was incredible, and we got I think I keep saying that, but my brother-in-law called one morning and said some station in Boston he happened to see, and they put out a national feed, had footage of Casey talking. They had found a huge cache of weapons, and so we got to see him for that moment in time, but he lost one of his troops during that time, and that was a huge impact on all of them. And so when they got back, that mom was there, and they all. I think he waved at us and he said, I'll be back, and went over, and they all embraced her. And I think they're still in touch with that woman today. So
when he came home, did he get deployed again? Or
he's been to Iraq twice, Afghanistan once, and then the Philippines. And so he's been deployed a lot.
What has sustained you?
My faith. I have total trust in God. And I fully understand and acknowledge that we're all in His hands, and He has a plan for our lives. Casey has a family, wonderful wife, 3 little kids, I get worried, but then I pray for peace. I pray for Casey, pray for his men. I pray for our military, for our deployed military. I pray for that our Caring for Troops pack-ups will be wonderful for everyone involved, and they always are. God always provides. And I pray for peace, and God gives me peace. Because really, it absolutely does no good to worry. It gets you nowhere, but turn it over.
What advice would you give if a young mother or a son or daughter were about to leave?
You know, I've gotten phone calls from moms by virtue of Caring for Troops, and someone will give them my name or Mike's name, and I encourage them to come down and get involved with Caring for Troops. So I would encourage anybody to get involved with some kind of military support group where you talk to moms and families that are in the same boat, and you can get insight into what their life might be like. So involve yourself, get out and communicate, I think is a huge thing. And then if you have a faith, turn to your faith. And then reach out to your kids. I mean, the packages we send, we've had some families that say, no, I can support my child. And I go, we know you can, but give us the opportunity to send that message from the community. And we've gotten letters from deployed servicemen saying, and women saying, I don't know you people and you're thinking of me. And so the packages are huge, and we know that they can't use it all, but we know that nothing goes to waste. We've sent some interesting things we had Nike gave us a bunch of shoes years and years ago, and that's when we were sending bigger packages. We sent shoes so that they could give them away to the locals. I mean, we've sent all kinds of stuff, but I think that's the thing. Don't isolate yourself. Turn to your church. Turn to veterans groups. They can give you insight as to what might be going on, and you just get comfort from communicating and fellowship. It's everything.
Thank you very much. That's a beautiful thoughts. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I could just yak all day.